All right, so my first question is just if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Grayson, lead singer of Mikeschair. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Actually grew up in Orlando, Florida, which is not far from where we currently are here in Palmetto. I'm 29, so I'm turning 30 this year, which is tough. Just got married a year ago, which is awesome. Cool. February 9th is our anniversary, so that's coming up really close. Yeah.
So what's it like touring while you're married now?
Yeah,
since
well,
it's a new experience.
So our situation is crazy different because my wife is actually an artist as well. She's in a new group called City Harbor, and they're just about to put out a record here in February. So this spring is actually the first time where she's going one way and I'm going the other. So we're gonna figure it out, make it work somehow, but it's definitely a different life for us, for sure.
Okay, well, now I've heard the story of like how your band got your name, but how did you guys actually meet?
Yeah, well, very randomly it seemed. The core kind of beginning of Mikeschair started at Belmont University in the dorms, and it was a thing where I had written a song and wanted to record it, and literally as I needed instruments, I mean, guys just kind of came from down the hall and was like, hey, I play bass. We're like, all right, put it on here. Or, hey, I play guitar. All right, put it on here. And we kind of stacked the song up. And then I submitted all those songs to a showcase there on campus. And we made it into the showcase, which is pretty rare for freshmen at Belmont. And so all of the guys that played on the songs is what became Mikeschair. So it seemed like kind of random, but literally the Lord kind of walked the right people to the dorm and kind of made it what it is. So
okay, now as a Christian, do you feel a certain responsibility when you're writing songs, or do you just feel like you write whatever God puts on your heart?
No, I definitely feel a responsibility. I put a lot of thought into what I'm trying to communicate and making sure that kind of lines up biblically and that lines up with kind of the heart behind what we're trying to do. And so, you know, a lot of that does kind of line up with my heart. So that's why I've always been drawn to Christian music. I've always, from day one, first song, it was writing songs about the Lord, you know? And so for me, it really comes down to worship. And if we can write songs that kind of invite people into that space, then that's kind of all we really want to accomplish.
Okay. Would you mind sharing your testimony of salvation?
Oh gosh, yeah. I grew up. Oh, do you need to go in there? Yeah, go ahead.
Just stuck behind.
It's open. There's a bunch of people in there actually.
There's a bunch of people?
Yeah. Not a bunch, but some people.
They're not changing, I think.
I think so. But here. Oh, it's locked, but yeah, you can go in there. It's just. I grew up and my parents didn't become believers until later in life, but I essentially grew up in a Christian home from like kindergarten on. And I went to private Christian school, and I can remember about first grade is when I kind of first said that prayer of salvation. But for me, I don't feel like my personal journey started really until about 5th grade. And 5th grade is where there was just a need for the Lord in my life. And, you know, there were things going on in our family. And, you know, I've been talking about at shows on this new record. We have a song called People Like Me. And it's kind of a story about addiction and kind of my family going through that. And it was just a very critical moment for me to know that God is real, you know. And that's when he became very real to me. And I was really plugged into my church youth group, which I always say that's so huge to have a community of believers around you. And so I would say 5th grade is where I really took it on. And that's when I first picked up a guitar, and that's when I started writing music and started leading worship there in our youth group. And so, it's just kind of cool how the Lord I had a great foundation and introduction through my parents, but then that really morphed into my own thing a little bit later.
Okay. Now, has your new album come out yet, or is it coming out?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's coming out this spring in March, And the title of the album is called All or Nothing, and we're so stoked about it. It's our third studio album, and it's kind of a departure for us of where we've been. So we're just so excited for people to hear it. I feel like the songs, it's the first time that I've actually had a theme when I actually started writing the album. Like All or Nothing was the first song that I wrote, and from there on I just knew that the word all was going to be a focus for the record. So there's a couple songs where in the title there's the word all, and so yeah, it's really exciting for us to be at this point where we're actually, it's our third record, which is crazy.
Yeah, which actually I was gonna ask you, what was the inspiration behind your single All I Can Do?
Yeah, All I Can Do, me and the guys in the band, us and our wives, were in a small group together, and we were going through the book Crazy Love by Francis Chan, and the first chapter is all about, kind of the way we approach the Lord and the things that we think about and the way we pray. And I just got crazy convicted about the fact that most of the time when I approach the Lord, I'm complaining, I'm telling him like, hey, you should have done this differently, or the questioning timing. And I just got convicted about the fact that, man, I want my life to say thank you. I want the first thing to come out of my mouth is, God, I'm breathing air that I don't deserve. So therefore, I need to thank you before I approach and say anything else. And so that song is, man, if there's nothing else we can say, all I can do is at least say thank you.
Okay, I've got just a couple more questions.
Okay.
This is actually your second year at the Manatee County Fair. Third?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
What's it like being back here
This
for
is
a
amazing.
third time?
I mean, we love this area. This is probably like what feels most like hometown for us, like the whole kind of general Tampa area. And so it does. It feels like coming home a little bit. And it's just fun when you show up and you see faces that and people are wearing shirts from 4 years ago, so it's exciting. We love getting asked back.
Okay, well, you guys are actually going to go on tour very soon, your Morning Rises tour.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from that tour? What do you hope will happen?
Yeah, it's going to be a cool tour. It's with Aaron Schuss and Johnny Diaz, and we love both of those guys, and so we're just we're excited to get out and play new music, which is really cool for us that we actually have a new record. So sharing a lot of kind of new perspective and new vision for what we do. So this is going to be an exciting tour for us. We'll actually be selling the new record, which is cool, and we're just really expecting an awesome night of worship when it comes down to it. It's going to be a really fun tour.
Okay, now I'm coming back to this because I always love talking to like newly married singers.
Yeah.
Are you and your wife going to do any collaborations like on her new album, or is there any on your guys' new album?
Yeah. Well, both of our records are done.
Okay.
So there's not any collaborations on these records, but I know there'll be collaborations in the future. We did put out a Christmas EP last year. And Molly helped write some of those songs, and so we kind of collaborated there, and we just did a Christmas tour, and they came out with us and we sang a song together. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of moments of that in the future, just because I can't help it. She's my wife. So,
yeah. Okay, well, my last question is, what advice do you have for aspiring musicians?
Wow. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that there's not like one person or one thing that can make anything happen for you. It really does come down to the Lord, and I know that that's hard to hear for some of us, because a lot of us like to have control and kind of do things on our own. I will say practical things, definitely be faithful where you're at. We've played tons of shows early on for 5 people, or showed up and sometimes there weren't any, so it really does come down to whatever door the Lord has opened, be faithful in it, because I do really believe that in order to move from that spot, like, you need to be faithful there, and so definitely hone your craft, spend lots of time lessons, and even I take vocal lessons and piano lessons and stuff like that. And surround yourself with people that are better than you. I think for me, especially with songwriting, surrounding myself with people who were better than me early on just really helped me develop that. And so those are some practical things, but when it really comes down to it, it's a whole lot of patience and a whole lot of surrender of just like, God, what is it exactly that you want me to do?
Mhm.